All right.
Hi, I'm Footloose. I'm hosting this Smart Recovery discussion meeting. Smart Recovery supports individuals who have chosen to abstain from any substance or activity or are considering abstinence. This meeting will last about 60 to 90 minutes. You can have a helpful meeting by following the guidelines. No one's required to participate. We go around the circle at least twice. When it's your turn, you can say pass or wave your hand. The meeting's confidential, so what is said here stays here. The meeting is free, but we pass a hat for donations. The meeting's conversational, so we keep the discussion moving from person to person. Crosstalk is encouraged, monologues are discouraged, right? We don't want somebody dragging on the whole time for an hour. We don't give advice. Smart Recovery encourages participants to make their own choices. We can, however, offer ideas to consider. And we don't debate issues about addiction and recovery, and we're free to speak in the language we want to and to view addiction and recovery however we want to. So you don't have to identify yourself as an addict. That's discouraged. We are much more than one aspect of our behavior, because human beings have addictive behavior. SMART works for any addictive behavior, not just substances and drugs, gambling, sex, internet, overeating, things like that. So in this meeting, we do SMART by doing exercises based on the SMART recovery tools. After this introduction, we go around the circle for a check-in. Please tell us, if you wish, what you'd like us to know, perhaps why you're here, or what has happened with you recently. After the check-in, we begin a series of round the circle exercises, which will be the primary part of our meeting. After each exercise, we'll discuss what we learned from it. Then we'll finally pass a hat, and at the end we'll have a checkout when you can tell us what was most meaningful to you about the meeting, if there was anything meaningful at all. Come on in. So, Smart Recovery? Cool. Just so you know, everybody else agreed to have the audio recorded and me on the board, if you're okay with that?
Yep.
All right, excellent. So, you missed the introduction, but we'll kind of get into it. It's all good. Begin with the check-in. What would you like us to know?
John. I'm familiar with Smart Recovery. I've been to a few of these meetings. So I kind of been slacking on meetings. I haven't came to, a meeting in about 3 weeks. I had a slip up, and that was definitely because I haven't been coming to meetings and stuff. So my objective is just to come to more meetings and get back on the horse, do what I was doing before, because this helps me. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Again, I've had a tough week. I've definitely been struggling. Also because I haven't been coming to as many meetings, so that's why I'm here today.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob.
I'm Bob.
I've got a few meetings under my belt, picking up as we go, learning different skills to deal with issues in my life. Pretty much it.
Excellent, thank you. Pass, sure.
I'm John. Not too familiar with Smart Recovery. I've been wanting to get to a meeting for a while. I want a little more depth into the 12 steps. I primarily go to AA meetings. Kind of doing house cleaning in terms of my programming, what I'm doing. Just sharpening the saw, quote unquote.
Sure.
And yeah, just trying to, find different avenues to wellness, I suppose.
Sure. Tools, the more tools you have, the more work you can do, the more detailed work, right?
Yeah, there's really a greater sense to it all than just going AA meetings is kind of one-dimensional in a way, so.
All right, well, we will try to get into it. Anybody tell me what SMART stands for? SMART, so self, management, And it's the easy one. Recovery
Training.
training, right?
I love that one.
Training, because these tools are things that you can master and you graduate from smart recovery. There are 14 tools to master, hopefully maybe 15 after this presentation. 14 tools, right? And studies have showed that 20 hours of smart recovery, right, reduces recidivism of violent crimes 45% and non-violent crimes like 35%. Those numbers are not going to be exact, so don't quote me down to the T, but that's pretty much where those numbers are at. There's a study in New South Wales prison system in Australia, and it takes about 5 meetings just to understand the dynamic of it. So try not to judge it off the first meeting. After about 5, you'll kind of get the gist of it. It's a little different, and 20 hours gives you a real serious benefit. And anyone's familiar with the stages of change?
Yeah.
So you guys are familiar with the stages of change. This is based on the stages of change. There's a 6th stage that they don't really talk about, and that's the exit stage. Right, and that's how you graduate. So it's after about like 5 years of maintenance, you know what I mean? You hit that exit stage where it's just second nature, and you've been doing this for so long, and it's like you're not even thinking about your recovery anymore. You're recovered, right? So that's the exit stage. It's hopefully at some point you'll gain control of these tools and utilizing them, and you don't need to come to meetings anymore, and you can do something else with the time you're doing meetings to balance your life a little bit more. Because we have 4 points, 14 tools and 4 points, right? 4-point program. Anybody tell me any of the points?
Balance.
So balance, yeah, is the 4th point. Motivation to change and have a better life, right? Urges, coping with urges successfully, and this is problem solving. Also, managing thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So the tools that we do are going to address one or more up to all 4 of those points at the same time. Right? So we can jump right in here, and we're going to start off with this tool called the HOV tool. Right, and that stands for hierarchy of values. So we can all kind of go around, maybe we'll go around twice. Everybody come up with one of their most important values, their number 1 and number 2 most important values.
My number 1 is probably self-respect. And then my second one would be probably family.
I'd say integrity, but and honesty. And honesty kind of falls under integrity. But,
Sure.
I don't know. I was gonna say self-respect too. I think that's huge.
Integrity, honesty. Honesty and integrity go hand in hand. They're kind of different. You know, you can be dishonest and still have integrity in some way, I guess. You know, maybe not. Anyway, so what do you think?
I say, we listed, financial security.
Right?
We refer to as money.
Right?
Not that it's the highest value, but
Financial security, right? Anything else?
peace of mind goes into
Okay.
integrity and self-respect.
Right? You gain that from it.
Right.
Peace of mind. Palm.
Empathy and honor.
It's kind of leaning toward integrity, honesty, and empathy.
And if that's what they are, that's what they are. You know what I mean? We don't have to add some of them. Like try to make 10 here, because try to do a minimum of 10. Health, right? Maybe just put connection. Right, so this is a pretty good list there. And this tool is designed to show a discrepancy, if there is any, between our values here and our addictive behavior. Because what's next is, where does our addictive behavior fit into this?
Addictive behavior disrupts
It's-
just about every one of those.
Yeah.
So it disrupts them, right?
Right.
Destroys them. When you put your addictive behavior here, right, you have your addictive behavior. It creates what? A mirror image.
It's a more self-focused thing.
Because it's not like this stuff goes away. It just doesn't just kind of go away and vanish. It actually becomes something else. It becomes the opposite. So what would be the opposite of self-respect? Loathing, guilt,
Yeah.
self-loathing,
Yeah.
right? And how about opposite of family?
Loneliness.
Opposite of integrity? That's a tough one. I had to think about.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that if you just don't, I mean, I think that's a big one for values. So I think if you don't have integrity, you're just kind of like,
Manipulate.
yeah.
Manipulating? Someone else might see it differently. Honesty, obviously. Lies. Right?
Yeah.
Lies. Terrible lies. Financial security? What's the opposite of that?
Want.
Wanting? Right? Destitute? Wanting?
Destitute.
Right? Destitution. Peace of mind. What's the opposite of that?
Confusion.
Confusion, anxiety, right? Confusion. Good word. Empathy. What is the opposite of empathy?
Selfishness.
What would you say?
Maybe arrogance.
I don't know. I mean, lack of empathy. I think it's just a void of empathy. I don't think it's
Neglect.
Callousness. Maybe neglect. So it's like
self-centeredness.
self-centeredness.
Yeah. 'Cause,
Right? Selfishness, self-centeredness, empathy. Or coldness, even maybe. Honor. How about honor? What's the opposite of honor?
dishonor.
Treachery and dishonor, right?
I don't think there's enough. Yeah.
Treachery. Dishonor. Right. Health. What is the opposite of health? What do you think? Maybe since we have you had some of the similar ones, which we should all probably have some of the same.
Health
ones.
problems.
Does health mean like physical health?
Health is physical and mental. I would consider that, physical and mental health. Probably not unwell, unwell, sickness, right? And the opposite of connection is, again, kind of the same as family. It's not
Addiction.
having- right? Addiction, right? It's disconnection. Right? Because we jump into that false reality. So we're gonna merge this into the CBA, right? And say, what's the greatest benefit of our addictive behavior?
Did you say CVA?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So the CBA tool is cost benefit analysis. CBA, right? So it kind of gets us to helps us weigh out whether or not what we're doing is worth it or not, right? Valuable, if there's a benefit or if the cost outweighs it or vice versa. So what's the greatest benefit of our addictive behavior? What would it be for you?
Probably just addictive behavior. Probably my freedom.
No, the benefit of
Greatest cost.
using.
Oh, greatest
using-
benefit.
Yeah, benefit of using, doing, drinking, whatever it is. That your thing
Just
is
be able to forget.
forgetting, right?
Yeah.
Forget.
Greatest benefit?
It's gonna be a reason we do it, right?
I know.
Could just be the high. Could be, you know,
Yeah,
numbness.
yeah, numbness the high, while
Right.
being high,
Right.
is where you forget.
Numb. Yes. Spelling's horrible right now. So, numbness, the high, right? What else?
You escape from reality.
Escape from reality, right?
Yeah.
Escape from reality. So, where was it? Escape from reality. What? They all sum up into that, right? The mental and physical reality,
Right.
right? Pain, mental anguish. You want to escape from it. It works, right? If it didn't work so well, we wouldn't be using it as the crutch that it is. What do you think? So, what's the greatest benefit for you, bud?
Putting a barrier between me and everything.
Disconnection, right? Just barrier. The greatest benefit, so it blocks everything. Blocks out.
Isolate.
Well, I mean, it covers up all the feelings, right? All the thoughts, all the feelings. Nothing matters anymore. Everything is all good because it's biohacking. You're hacking your brain and your biochemistry with these drugs and flooding it with these chemicals to make you feel this way, right?
It's a Irrational.
Blocks out everything in some way, you know, or it makes everything that much more intense depending on what your thing might be. So what would it be for you? What's the greatest benefit?
I'm gonna say distraction from like bettering. I was gonna say bettering my life, or sort of like always waiting there to be done, or you know, it's an addiction. So I think it's a distraction from life and problems and
Sure.
Reality.
Reality, right?
sort of like a lot of the same thing that's up there, but
Yeah, of course.
a little more specific.
So how would you say it?
It's a distraction.
Distraction. Right?
Distraction from
Makes all
problems.
those thoughts, these thoughts that you kind of need. You kind of need to think about these thoughts that pop up, like you need to do this, you need to do that. This is a survival thing, so we're supposed to be doing what we want to say. I don't want to do that, I want to do something else, right? Procrastination, frustration tolerance, low frustration tolerance. So we have these things, these short-term benefits, long-term benefits. What kind of benefits are these?
Short term.
Short-term, right? Short-term.
Short term in that you can only maintain it for a short time, or
Well, if you do it, it lasts for however many hours or minutes, right? And then you got to do it again, and do it again, do it again, do it, and we usually start having to do more and more and more, right? As you do it, so we have these benefits. Any other benefits? Great benefits from it. What's the greatest cost? And so we put this here first, because usually what will go there is the greatest cost aspect, but we kind of already did this. The greatest cost is our hierarchy values. So it reinforces that tool and how that tool is supposed to show that discrepancy between what we turn it into. So that great benefit destroys this and replaces it with this. So not only do we get the numbness and the great high, right, we also get this along with it, which obviously is going to make us not want to think or feel about this shit and want to have to cover it up even more with this numbness and forgetting, right? So how do the benefit and the cost relate is the next part of the CBA, right? How does the benefit and the cost relate to each other? What do we think?
How does the benefit and the cost? Is that the
So we got we got this short-term escape for reality. How does that relate to losing our hierarchy of values?
Engage in your addictive behavior, that's when you lose
Yeah.
values.
When you engage in your addictive behavior is when you lose it. So it's a cause
So
and
you get all
a
those things.
So when you
Right.
get your benefit, you're getting your cost as well.
you get your benefit, you get your cost as well. So this is attached to this, and then right here is what's attached to this. And this is the other part. What's the greatest benefit you are getting or would get without addictive behavior problems? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you move right to your hierarchy of values and
So you
start
gotta-
working on those.
You get it back,
You get it
right?
back,
So you basically have, recovery, which is basically just, living in reality, right? Dealing with it successfully, coping with this stuff, versus addictive behavior attached to this great benefit of using or engaging in our thing, whatever it is, because a lot of times we might switch from what we'll have a problem with this one thing and then convince ourselves that we don't have a problem with something else. Or we might even juggle. I was a big poly user. I'd be a little of this for a little while, a few days of this, a few days of that, and then a few days of this, and then back to the other one. You know what I mean? And I don't have a problem with none of them. Craziness. So living in reality gets you these things, these real things. And what are these? Are these short-term benefits?
No, it's a long term.
So the long-term. Right? We get these long-term benefits that don't take too much to maintain, right? It just takes a little bit of effort. So the trick is now, what about the thoughts that make us want to engage? Like John, how you mentioned the little slip that you had. What was the thoughts making you want to engage in that activity?
It wasn't. So I guess it wasn't really I guess it had to do with thoughts. It was just. It was
You
just.
justified it, right? Some way.
Yeah. Just once. Once I'll be all right.
One last time,
Yeah.
right? So this is the ABC for urges tool that we're going to get into. A few different ABC models. So one last time, we're actually going to do an urge log real quick. Urge log and turn it into an ABC, right?
What's
So
ABC?
stands for action, belief, consequence. So something happens and we form a belief, that's the action or activating event. We form a belief. That belief has consequences, emotional and or behavioral consequences. Now the belief is the crux, because the belief is going to be rational or irrational, right? True or untrue. And that's going to determine the emotional and or behavioral consequences. So it's like right thought precedes right action. right? So if you think correct, you're gonna act correct. So the idea behind this is to dispute. The other tool that we use is the DIBS tool, which is dispute irrational beliefs. So pretty much any belief that comes in your head could be irrational, and you can challenge it and question it for its veracity, right? And if it's not true, like one last time, is it gonna be one last time if you do it again? When was the last time?
Can I just wanna, this is my second time.
Sure,
with
sure.
Smart recovery, so,
Any questions are great.
so if I can just give an example. So I'm dealing with a situation and it's causing me anxiety, just a normal life event. I don't know, I'm in the middle of a field of fire ants. Something's distressing. Regardless of what it is, even if I have a scientific basis to contest what somebody else is telling me, so they say, if you put salt on the ground around you, it'll protect you from the fire ants. So they tell me that, and I know that salt has no effect on fire ants. That's ridiculous. So that's an irrational thing. If I choose to believe that, that's an irrational belief, right? But
If there's no evidence, right, yeah. If there was something blatant that there was no evidence to support and you chose to believe it, like, that's you choosing to believe their thoughts.
well, okay. So they provide a thought, and I choose whether to make it a belief by whether I give it power or not in my mind.
Definitely.
The salt has no effect on the ants. It doesn't protect me from them. But if in reality there aren't fire ants around me and I'm hallucinating or something else is affecting my perception, and by choosing to believe what they have told me, it protects me from my thoughts. Because my
Oh,
perception-
so the irrational beliefs can be beneficial. Yes.
okay.
Irrational beliefs can be beneficial. Yes. It's not 100% that all irrational beliefs are going to have negative consequences, right? But a lot of times, it's what causes us to engage in dumb stuff. If you think you can fly, you might jump off a roof, right? So it's not a good belief. It's not a rational belief to maintain. And
I guess that's my question. So in evaluating beliefs, how do you determine when an irrational belief is beneficial? Or is it a tool we don't
just by the consequences of it. And you could put it down here, so you would actually put your belief, whatever it is, and then how does that belief make you feel? And how does it make you act? What is it, you know what I mean? What does that belief cause you to do? If it causes you to do good things and to be a good person, you know what I mean? Then an irrational belief might not be that bad.
So I think I'm understanding it. With ABC, the first one was action, then belief, and then consequence.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I think I heard was, it's not necessarily the belief being irrational or rational, but it's the belief
And consequences.
and how the consequence of believing it affects you.
Right.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
You know, and it's definitely sometimes rational beliefs and rational thoughts. Like, it's rational to think, shit, I don't have any money to pay this month's bills. This is not good. I need to do something. Like, that makes me feel anxious because I need to actually do something about it. But that's a rational belief for me to have. But that doesn't make me feel good, right? It's going to have some negative consequences to it. So, the ABC. So one last time, what are some other thoughts that might make us engage in our addictive behavior? That people, the one that gets us to do it usually.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Right? And they usually start piling up. Fuck it. I deserve it. Right? I deserve it. One last time, no one will know.
Not hurting anyone.
Right? I'm not hurting anyone.
I don't care.
care. It doesn't matter, right? Everyone else is doing it. I can handle it or manage it, right? Pretty good urge log, and you can see how they start piling up. These irrational, because we will expose these as irrational beliefs.
Yeah, they all start with I.
And one last time, well, when was the last time we used? Right? It had to have been before this time because we're not using now, so it was the last time. So if we're thinking about using again, it can't be the last time. It can only be the next time. So we're lying to ourselves when we say one last time. Right? The truth. And so now we disputed it and we would change it, right? This would be A, B, C, D, E. We dispute it with the dibs tool and we change it to an effective belief. Okay? So the effective belief is it's the next time. Right? And that always continues. It'll always be the next time and the next time and the next time. The last time is always the last time. Right? The next time obviously could be the last time, but you don't know that for sure. It's definitely the next time. It might be the last time, but you don't know. You can only guarantee the last time is the last time. So what about fuck it? What do we think about that thought? Fuck it. Is that a good
It's
reason?
irrational.
Why?
Because you're not assessing any consequences or any
Right, we're not doing any of this cost benefit
Right.
in any way, right? Fine, don't matter, who gives a fuck? This is cool, we like this, we don't care about that, and we don't care about this either now, right? Because it's kind of, we lifted the veil here, it's like, exposed the truth of the mechanics of our thought process.
Yeah, you're not giving it any thought. You're just saying fuck it.
Yeah, so, and I deserve it. Do we deserve this? Do we deserve to lose this?
No.
Because that's what we're saying if we say, fuck it, I deserve it. Everyone else is doing it, I can handle it. How's everybody else handling that? You know? And is that what you want or is that what you want, right? So what do you deserve? It's like kind of blatantly obvious. What can we replace that fuck it, I deserve it with? When we have those thoughts. So now here's another tool we can come into is the Disarm Tool. All right, and that stands for Destructive Imagery, Self-Talk, Awareness, Refusal Method. And the idea, this urge log, these thoughts, the urges we have, if you were to personify it as something or someone out to get you, how would you see it? Right? So as an example, my favorite example is the shit candy. Okay, so think of this as a piece of candy that you look at, but it's got a shit center. So it tastes good briefly, and then it's filled with shit. Okay, and then it tastes so bad you need to eat another one to cover up that shitty taste in your mouth. But you don't realize it has shit in the center until you've kind of worked through this tool. And once you've done this, you realize that the benefit, this great benefit, I mean, is it worth it? That's something that everyone has to decide. Is this worth turning this into this?
No.
I don't think any of us deserve that, right? I don't think it's worth it. So what about we're not hurting anyone? Who are you? Is it hurting? Do we think this is hurting us?
No, it's numb.
Right?
I don't feel it. I blocked everything out.
You think you did though, right? How's your life going though?
You're hurting others.
And you're definitely hurting others and the people around you. Nobody wants to see it. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see people destroying themselves, right? And we don't care. We typically, I mean, I would say I cared too much, and which is one of the reasons why I used to self-medicate. Because you care so much, and you're just so frustrated in that low frustration tolerance, and not being able to deal with it. And the easier way out is that, boom, guaranteed couple hours at least, hopefully, you know, of blocking everything out and escaping it, and everything seems to be great and dandy until we process that we're throwing everything we care about away in exchange for this mirror image. So everyone else is doing it. How about I can handle it? Is there any evidence to support that? Because this is how we dispute. Is there any evidence? What do we think about that?
It handles you.
Handles you, right? It handles us. It becomes everything. It becomes our number one.
It's impossible to really.
Right? And replaces this. Becomes our number one.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry.
I think so, well, not for every substance or addiction, but I think it's, I can handle it, it's basically a lie. I mean, it's not.
Right.
For some things, there's no real determinant where this is going to happen. And it's a lot of very big unknown space.
Right.
As to what's going to happen if you, whatever, do this, do that, you know.
We might survive it is the truth.
Right.
Right? We might survive it, which is handling it. If you want to consider that handling it, managing it.
You look at the benefits. You're distracted, you've blocked out everything, you're not looking at reality, you're numb, and you're forgetting everything you've ever learned. So how can you handle something? You don't have any senses intact.
Exactly. It's like you can't handle anything when you're in a nod or passed out drunk, you know, or whatever other fugu state you're in from your thing. So we kind of just ran through a lot of the program right there. What time is it? How are we running on time?
I think it's like 7:45, 7:40.
7:45? All right, cool. So we can try and jump into a few more things here before we do the checkout. So we can do this Disarm Tool. So we'll go around and everybody. So if you were gonna picture your addictive behavior as something or someone out to get you, how would you see it, John?
My addictive behavior as someone out to get me.
Someone or something, yeah. So like a persona, like an image, a destructive image, like the shit candy that I came up with. Chuck likes to use the used car salesman that you bought a car off him, you drive away with it, right? You drive away with the shit candy car, and it breaks down into the addictive behavior mirror image of your hierarchy values, right? And then he says, hey, I got another car for you, don't worry about that one. Do you want to buy that car? So
Right.
once you've associated it with this dude that keeps ripping you off, and that these thoughts, these urges that come in your head are this used car salesman or the shit candy trying to get you to eat itself, right? Engage in this, do this, it's good, it's so good.